breaking updates, Karnataka High Court dismisses Twitter's plea against centre's blocking orders, imposes fine of rupees 50 lakh on Twitter. Twitter had moved High Court against centre's plea to take down 39 URLs. All right, we have Neha joining us on the story. Neha, Karnataka High Court dismissing Twitter's plea against centre's blocking orders. Take us through the details.
Well, that's right. We're seeing that Twitter Inc., in fact, had moved the Karnataka High Court. This was a couple of months back. The hearing went on for quite some time now, where they'd moved, the High Court against the centre's blocking order, which, in fact, went on to request for taking down of some URL links and also some posts. And now we're seeing that, the Karnataka High Court, after hearing the matter from both sides, has now, in fact, refused. In fact, what we're also getting to know now in the latest is that they've dismissed this petition. They've also placed a 50 lakh, cost on Twitter right now that needs to be paid. But what's also important is that, this was in fact something which went on for quite some time. Twitter had also argued that, the rights itself of the centre to be actually allowing for these orders to be blocked isn't correct. And in retaliation also, of course, we saw the centre here arguing. The matter, of course, has concluded now in court. Apart from also imposing this cost of 50 lakhs, we're seeing that the entire petition itself has been dismissed. Now, whether, of course, Twitter goes on to move, a higher court of order or not, well, that's something that we'll have to wait and watch out for.
All right. Thank you, Neha, for bringing those details. So certainly a setback for Twitter at this point. All right, let's go back to Neha once again. Neha, could you take us through how this entire matter played out in the court over the last few months?
Well, absolutely, Radhika. We're also now picking up is that, the bench, in fact, while dismissing this petition, has gone on to say very clearly that, Twitter was given notices and that the company did not really comply, and that, the fine for non-compliance is 7 years of imprisonment and an unlimited fine. Now, we're seeing that they've already imposed about 50 lakhs. Apart from that, also what they're going on to say is that, they've not really given any reason over here, Twitter, for their delayed compliance, and all of a sudden, that the fact that they've approached the court, most importantly, we're also picking up that orally the court has gone on to note that, they've gone on to tell Twitter that they're not just a farmer, but in fact a billion-dollar company. So for them to suddenly be approaching court like this, of course, is a little uncalled for possibly, and that's why we're seeing today the petition being dismissed. Twitter, in fact, in its petition, of course, had claimed that these blocking orders, which were issued in the first place, were deficient of the provision. Now, we'll really have to wait and see as to how this pans out now, whether Twitter goes on to, possibly move the Supreme Court in this matter or not.
Bringing all those details, let's quickly go across to Sanket Yagni of the Congress Party. Mr. Yagni, of course, a big development coming there, a setback for Twitter. Karnataka High Court dismissing Twitter's plea against centre's blocking orders. How do you view this development?
So, as such, centre's decision to block Twitter for any of the compliance is for the security purpose if it is so justifiable. But unnecessarily blocking either the Twitter or the accounts through the Twitter, or insisting the Twitter to block certain accounts, may amount to someone's privacy and taking the law in their own hands. It is violating one's fundamental right of freedom of speech and expression. But in any case, the action of the central government at one hand is taking away one's privacy, one's right to do the business of the Twitter, in as much as a right to speech and expression, which is connected to the individual citizen. So these are the conflict of rights of the Twitter, which is a trade and business right, and right of an individual pertaining to speech and expression, right of the central government to regulate. Since these are all the questions involved in the matter, I think the Twitter may take this matter before the appropriate court as against the observation of the order passed by the court. And in my opinion, it has to be dealt exhaustively, not looking at it from one corner. But everything has to be balanced. Everything has to be addressed in accordance with law. And there must be harmonious construction of several provisions of law pertaining to all, including the rights of all, including the rights of the Twitter and the central government and of individual. So there must be some equilibrium, and
Right.
the harmonious construction of the provisions need to be done by the court.
All right, point taken, Mr. Yagni. We also have Anwar Manipadi of the BJP joining us. Mr. Manipadi, Karnataka High Court dismissing Twitter's plea against centre's blocking orders. Twitter had been saying that these blocking orders were obviously violation of fundamental rights and so on. But at this point, a setback for Twitter. How do you view this?
One thing is certain in India, that one cannot keep cheating people or going wrong against the laws of the country. There is always one institution known as a judiciary who takes into consideration every point and gives us a very good judgment. Today is one of such cases where Twitter has lost and had to pay a fine of 50 lakh. This is fantastic, and because they thought all the time they can win with the money, and it is not so. But there has earlier person said, there has to be equilibrium, like there has to be justice in every aspect of it. And that has to be displayed very well in the public eye. To the public eye, that the justice has to be really shown well. So I'm glad today that the Twitter case, Twitter has lost it because they under the blanket of not natural justice, under the blanket of rights, everyone's rights according to the Constitution, they were doing everything that is not on. There are many things which they should do it very, very judiciously, which they have not done, and that's the reason the High Court, the judiciary, it's not the center winning. It's the judiciary who has won against the people who are doing wrong. So justice is always there in a country like India, and we are glad that that judgment has come in the right way, and it has taught a lesson to other public organizations to see that they don't do injustice and they take things their way, which way they feel like taking it. It should not be. So there has to be some methodology in whatever they do, in whatever they give it to people in this country. I would say thank you very much, High Court judges, and I salute to you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Manipadi, for joining us with your thoughts. You're saying justice has been delivered. Twitter had not followed rules, and therefore this judgment has taught them and several other organizations of that kind some sort of a lesson.